members at moderate prices. It creates utility. It creates utility among people of similar interest. They are very loyal to the movement and they always patronize it. They have access to loans. They easily obtain loans from banks and other cooperative firms. Also, they often grant loans to their members. Disadvantages now. We have lack of qualified personnel. Due to incompetence of staff, lack of business skill, the business tends to be stagnant. Mistrust of members. The members who are responsible for the running of the business do not display any atom of honesty. Another question: what are the reasons for setting up public enterprises? First, we have large capital requirements. The production of certain goods and services like dams, electricity, roads, bridges requires a very huge capital. Another reason is essential services. Certain goods and services are regarded as unavoidable products. They include water, hospitals, schools, etc. The government is therefore compelled to provide them for effective functioning of the state. Preventing foreign monopoly. The governments make law against ownership of certain industries by foreigners. So this prevents them from dominating and controlling the economy. We also have social amenities. Certain infrastructural facilities are quite essential in a society. Except the government provides them, the society cannot function properly. To ensure rapid economic growth and development, many governments deem it necessary to establish certain industries like agro-based industries. Another questions? State 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages of public enterprises. Advantages: 1. It makes a large capital to be available for the establishment of very large enterprises. It has led to the establishment of very many infrastructural facilities and they employ a very large number of people. Disadvantages: there is lack of profit motive in public enterprises. Bureaucracy in public enterprises reduces output and profits, and they are not effectively controlled by the government. Another question: highlight the features of public company. What are the sources of capital to public company? Features now. The members have limited liability. It has legal entity. It issues debentures and bonds. Profits are shared based on the value of shares held. It has perpetual existence and its shares are transferable. Sources of capital include sales of shares, access to credit, issue of debentures, personal saving of founders, members, loans from banks, and reinvesting profits. Another question: briefly explain the following. Memorandum of Association. Memorandum of Association contains the powers and rules that guide its interaction and relationship with the member of the public. Article of Association. It contains all rules and powers and regulations that properly guide its domestic administration. In other words, its internal management. State 3 advantages and 2 disadvantages of public company. Advantages: they contribute to economic growth and development of a state. It has access to economies of scale due to its large scale of operation, and the shares are quoted on stock exchange. Disadvantages: it is difficult for a large firm to devise measures to eliminate waste completely, and public companies are compelled by law to publish their statement of affairs like balance sheets. Public enterprises now, they are owned and supervised by the federal government. They include Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. Also, Nigeria Postal Services, NIPOST, etc. Formation and management. The government places their management on the shoulders of boards of directors appointed by minister in charge. Each of the board is headed by one of the directors called the chairman. They formulate appropriate policies, appoint top executives, and ensure their efficient management and overall success. Sources of capital. Initial capital is usually provided by the government. Annual subventions or allocations are usually given to the corporations. Loans can be obtained from financial institutions or government. Retail earnings can be plugged back into the operations of the corporation. Reasons for government ownership. The production of certain goods and services like railway, electricity, roads, schools requires a very large capital. Another reason is certain goods and services like airport, seaport, rail system are regarded as essential services. Certain industries, e.g., iron and steel, are essential for proper functioning of the society. To make laws against ownership of certain industries by foreigners and certain infrastructural facilities are indispensable in a society. Advantages of public enterprises. It makes a large capital to be available for the establishment of very large enterprises, led to the establishment of very many infrastructural facilities. They employ a very large number of people. It reduces foreign monopoly. It reduces foreign dominance. The efficient public enterprises generate a lot of revenue for the government. Disadvantages of public enterprises. Many are not self-financing. There is a lack of profit motive in public enterprises. Bureaucracy in public enterprises reduces output and profit. They are not effectively controlled by the government, and the level of corruption in public enterprises is not as low as that of the private sector. Limited liability company now. A limited liability company is an association of a large number of people with diverse interests. They contribute money in form of shares to raise a large capital for setting up and running a business with a view to making a profit. It is also referred to as joint stock company. Types of limited liability company. We have private company and public company. Private company. It is an enterprise owned and run by a particular group of people who are related, and other people cannot become members except on the consent of the board of directors. Features of private company. It has a minimum number of 20 people and maximum number of 50. It has a legal entity. Its shares are neither advertised for sale nor quoted on the stock exchange. It cannot call on the public to subscribe for the venture. Its shares are not transferable except on the company's consent. Advantages of private company. Shareholders are not liable for the payment of debts of the company. There is continuity of existence in private company, and it can raise more capital than partnership will do. And it has legal entity, and it enjoys the benefit of economies of scale. Disadvantages of private company. Its shares are not transferable.